If you're always scrolling on social media in the middle of a task, feel tired and overwhelmed every day, feel uneasy when you do nothing, and compare yourself to others and feel bad about it, I have 5 lessons from no other than the legendary samurai Miyamoto Musashi that will help you get back on track and help you get rid of that feeling of guilt for not being productive. But before we jump into it, we first have to understand who Musashi was and what made people consider him such a role model when it comes to discipline. Miyamoto Musashi was the best samurai from Japan, never losing a duel, which signifies his highly disciplined martial artist nature. His discipline is mostly known to the public through his undefeated record in over 60 duels and the books he wrote, such as The Book of Five Rings and Dokkodo, where he talked in depth about aspects of the mind, how to control it, and how to become a much better person for battle, but also for life. So now that you have a clear image of who he was, we can move forward to the first lesson. Lesson 1. Mastery of the basics. In the Book of Five Rings, Musashi emphasized the importance of mastering the basics. If you know the way broadly, you will see it in everything. Musashi believed that true mastery comes from a deep understanding of the fundamentals. His disciplined approach involved relentless practice of basic techniques until they became second nature. This allowed him to react instinctively and efficiently in combat. And how can you apply this to your everyday life and to your own goals? Well, it's simple. The first thing that you have to understand is that discipline is you doing the basics, the easy stuff, for a long period of time. A bunch of people like to overcomplicate and overthink every single goal until they get overwhelmed by the idea and never start. In the 4-Hour Work Week, Tim Ferriss said that whenever you set goals, your first steps must be the easiest ones. In our example, let's call these the basics that you need to master. If these steps are not easy, any new habit that you want to set will be very hard to do consistently. That's why you want to set a clear goal. See what the basics to your goal are, and just do those for a long period of time. You will outsmart, defeat, and outwork 99% of the people who create a goal, set up a very complex plan, and just give up because of the complexity in about 3 weeks by simply doing the basics for a long period of time. Let's say you want to lose weight and get strong as well. You sign up for the gym at the same time as your friend, and both of you have the same goals. Just the way you want to achieve those goals is different. Your buddy hired an online coach, got the most complex powerlifting and weight cut program with the most scientific approach, the most nutrient-dense food, and everything up to the standards, while you simply watched an 8-minute YouTube video with a very basic Soviet training routine that made a bunch of people strong in the 80s, something really outdated compared to the standards. Both of you are hyped and you start your workouts. You do a simple warm-up followed by the main lifts and accessories, while your buddy tries to activate every little muscle in his body before working out. You finish your workout in 40 minutes compared to your buddy, who finished it in 2 hours. Fast forward 2 months, you gain some pretty good strength and still follow that really basic workout plan with 4 days of workouts and 3 rest days, while your buddy is nowhere to be found. When you call and ask what happened, he simply replies, "I don't have the time anymore. That program is way too hard and complex for me." And that's where you win and get an edge. By simply doing more of the basic stuff, the easy stuff, for a longer period of time, you learn more and do more. And once that becomes way too easy for you, you can look into more complex stuff. And with this in mind, and with the fact that now our buddy just left us and we're on our own, we can move to the second lesson. Embrace solitude for self-improvement. Musashi spent years in solitude, honing his skills and reflecting on his experiences. In Dokkodo, he wrote, "Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world." Musashi used solitude to reflect on his actions and improve his skills. This disciplined approach to self-improvement allowed him to gain clarity and focus. During solitude, I always saw the most progress that I had in mind. And before you jump on me and yell that it's impossible to be in solitude because we're social creatures, let me explain. I don't mean solitude as in going monk mode for 3 months into the middle of a mountain and not talking to people because you're on your Sigma grind mode. I'm saying that you need space to think and just be you with your mind. When you're constantly surrounded by voices and people, you don't have time to think and actually analyze your progress and be real with yourself. The noise is constantly in your mind and you get no signal from that noise. So what I got from Musashi's teachings that I still apply to this day is the following. Whenever I need to think about work, brainstorm ideas for work, YouTube, or clients, I set a time block during the day. That's when I come up with ideas. That's when I have time to be real with myself and analyze my progress in a truthful manner. But please don't confuse solitude with the aim of bettering yourself and being more disciplined and productive with being lazy and just laying around. This time is for you to set clear goals, set systems to achieve those goals, see in which areas you need to work more on yourself, and see what you can do every day to get one step closer to your goal. Solitude here is meant to clear your mind and complement the work that you're already doing. It's like that friend that gives you a slight push from the back when you don't know what to do next. Consistency in practice. Our lesson number 3. The way is in training. Musashi's dedication to consistent practice is evident in his undefeated record in over 60 duels. He believed in the importance of daily practice and repetition. Discipline is built through consistent effort. Musashi's daily practice routines helped him maintain a high level of readiness and skill. So what does that mean for us? Well, first and foremost, just doing the basics doesn't mean you don't have to do things consistently. A lot of people think that if they mastered the basics, now they can relax and just ease off a bit. In reality, you never really master the basics. You just get better. The moment you think you're a master, you stop evolving and stop finding little gaps where you can improve. You see, in jiu-jitsu, the greatest fighter of all time was Roger Gracie. He had the most basic game plan and always stuck to the basics, but he was so good at doing the easy stuff that no one knew how to beat him. Everybody looked at the basic things, did them for a while, then got bored and always looked at doing new things, so their mind doesn't just give up altogether. Consistency in basic things is what really makes you great, and by understanding this idea, you truly become disciplined. Once you understand that all you have to do is the basic stuff for a long time, that's when you can slim down on your complex plan and actually enjoy the process. Lesson 4. Strategic thinking and planning. In the Book of Five Rings, Musashi emphasized the importance of strategy. You must understand that there is more than one path to the top of the mountain. Musashi's disciplined approach to strategy involved planning, foresight, and adaptability. He believed in understanding multiple ways to achieve a goal and being prepared for various scenarios. Strategic thinking, in this case, also means being flexible and seeing possible outcomes happening so you don't just burn out in the end with no progress, which will hinder your mentality and, in the process, also your discipline of doing the things that are required of you. By having a plan with goals and strategies to achieve each one of those goals with a realistic time bound like 3, 6, and 12 months, you can progress much faster and adjust your goals as you go and as you see what progress realistically you can achieve. If you just have something in your mind that you want to get better at, let's say writing, but with no depth, no understanding of the process that needs to be done, and systems to achieve those goals, you can't become disciplined and stick to some routine or some habits since you don't even know what you want to achieve. You just wander aimlessly. So instead, do what Tim Ferriss says in The 4-Hour Workweek and create goals with plans for the next 3, 6, and 12 months. See how that changes things. Now, all of the things mentioned above will not work unless you fully understand the next thing. Lesson 5. Focus and eliminate distractions. This quote suggests the importance of deeper understanding and focus. Discipline involves looking beyond the obvious and focusing on what truly matters, eliminating distractions that do not contribute to your goals. Without eliminating distractions, you can't fully focus on anything. If you want to write 10 pages every day, most likely if you decide to write them in a library, you will succeed. If you write them in a club, not so likely. Your environment dictates your success. What I did and took from the book Atomic Habits was to allocate specific locations to specific tasks. If you want to write, write in a particular space. If you want to read, read in that space. Your mind gets into the habit that whenever you're in that space, you sit down and do X action. It's not about being robotic and a crazy superachiever. It's just trying to make things easier for yourself. If you try to do everything from one space, your mind gets overwhelmed. That's another reason why a bunch of companies want to make people return to offices. The productivity levels across 73% of companies saw an uptick when people worked from the office compared to when they worked from home. Yes, it might not be cool for people to come back from the comfort of their homes, but the numbers don't lie. So take a lesson from Musashi's book and understand this aspect in depth. So here we have the 5 lessons. All of these lessons are tied together, and when you understand each one of them, you see the big picture of how this legendary samurai from almost 400 years ago mastered discipline and how you can too. If you really want to kickstart your self-improvement journey and learn even more from Eastern philosophy and from Musashi, check out these videos, which will make everything even more clear.